and today I'm going to be talking about the effects of blue light exposure to young adult sleep patterns. So, have you ever been laying in your bed, scrolling on your phone or on your computer, typing an email, studying for a test tomorrow, or typing an essay, and all of a sudden you get done, you close your laptop, you set your alarm on your phone, you put it down on your nightstand, and you're ready to go to bed. Well, at this point, it's 12 a.m., you can't sleep, and all you're doing is sitting there looking at the ceiling fan, looking at every hour on the clock, wondering, why can't I sleep? I have work now in 4 hours, or I have to be in class in 5. And now you're like, what do we do? Why is this happening? Well, turns out the things that we use every single day, our attention getters, or what we do for work, for class, are actually putting a large effect on our sleep schedule. So this is called blue light exposure. Blue light is put off by any electronic device, so your computers, your iPads, your tablets, your iPhones, even your TVs. So blue light exposure that is introduced to the body through electronic devices causes much harm in our sleeping habits. Blue light exposure decreases melatonin production, which I will get into a little later, which will cause many more issues when trying to get restful sleep. Over time, this can cause multiple problems to arise throughout your lifestyle and throughout your sleep schedule. These issues can be reduced by applying the changes to the habits that you've created in your life and implementing them each day. So as students, we rely on screens, whether it's for homework, social media, or entertainment. Using them late at night could be affecting how well we get sleep and how well we can function the next day. This issue is not made aware enough due to the fact that everyone does it, as we all do. So after researching studies from healthcare professionals, I learned how blue light from electronic devices can interfere with your sleep schedule, especially in teens and in younger adults. I will be discussing how blue light affects the brain, production of melatonin, and then next I'll explain why young adults are especially sensitive to these effects. Finally, I'll share some tips and ways to reduce blue light exposure and improve your sleep quality. So, each of us have a circadian rhythm. You may think, what in the world is a circadian rhythm? Well, that is basically your internal time clock that your body system uses. So our body releases melatonin. It's produced from our pituitary gland, which is in our brain, and it's a hormone that basically controls when your body senses the light outside and when it senses the dark. So when it senses the light, melatonin is suppressed, so that does not make your body tired. When it's dark outside, melatonin is then released in your body, which creates you to be tired. So while this has changed how our body sees light at much later times. So used to, when we did not have electronic devices, our body basically released melatonin after sunset, right at sunset, and then it suppressed it when the sun rised. So this has changed, as we now know, because we have electronic devices that we use late at night. So while blue light is still not the sun's light, it is still as effective to trigger that release of melatonin, or suppressing the melatonin that is trying to be released. So, when we are exposed to blue light, it triggers our brain to not allow melatonin to be released. Therefore, we do not feel tired. So, young adult sleep vulnerability. How important is sleep for younger adults? Sleep is a vital part of our everyday lifestyle, as many view it nowadays. You're busy, things don't go as planned, you have to do stuff late at night, people are just pushing sleep to the side. That's actually what controls your immune system. It will fight off viruses for you, and it will give you much more energy for the next day to get things done. So when we don't have that, we don't have basically our guard to protect us from other things that can come into our life. So when we do not have adequate amounts of sleep, according to Mayo Clinic, 7 hours or less leads to poor health. So why do young adults feel the need to continue to look at blue light before they sleep? It could be a sense of boredom, quote unquote endless scrolling, or that we are all accustomed to completing this during our free time. So this leads to triggering our brain to become awake and alert when we're looking at our phones or our computers, tablets, etc. And then whenever we take part in this before bed, it awakens our brain and creates our mind and our body to be alert. So why are young adults more sensitive to this blue light exposure? Young adults are more known to use smaller devices that are held closer to your face. So as you know, or many do, older adults usually partake in watching TV before they go to sleep. Everyone has one in their room, that's what they watch, that's what they do. Since that TV is further away from your eyes, and your phone is usually held very close to your face, or your tablet or your computer, TVs are not as much exposure as your phones are. So when you're in a dark room, your pupils are going to dilate when your phone is close to your face, which is going to cause you to be more awake and alert. So, what effects does lack of sleep cause? It is known to cause drowsiness, obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and depression, and also an increased risk of strokes and heart disease. So we see these pretty much as well aware now. Depression, anxiety, everything is seen more in our younger generation today. So could this be the cause of what's causing that? So what mood shifts are caused from lack of sleep? You also have irritability, anxiety, anger, and like we said, depression, which are also very heavily seen within our younger generation today. So, some realistic ways that you can reduce blue light exposure in your life. There are some, and it may be hard, but it can improve your tomorrow. So you want to, depending on what phone you have, you can do it with Apple products, but you can set curfews on any app on your phone. So you can partake in this by all your social media apps, setting a timer on that, and it's called a screen time timer. So after a certain period of time, it will not allow you to go into that app, which can make you put your phone down and go to bed instead of getting on your phone. So this would create a habit to allow you not to stay on your phone later than that time. Next, you can establish strict bedtime routines. Ask yourself, what makes your body think it's time to go to bed? In some cases, it's washing your face, brushing your teeth, or taking a shower. So create that routine. Do it at each time, each night. It may be hard to do it 7 days a week, but you can at least start with 3 and move up for weekdays. So allow yourself to do those things, get ready for bed, and do each thing at that certain time to get in the habit of winding your body down. In students, this may be a harder issue. It could be if you aren't even a student. But make your schedules and stick to your schedules. Write out your schedule, write out when you're going to start this process, when you're going to start taking the shower, washing your face, brushing your teeth. Write it down and stick to it. Set alarms. While at school, we know it can be very hard to stick to these things, but when establishing and sticking to your routine and not allowing someone else to influence that can better your tomorrow. So stick to your schedule, create habits that are healthy habits, which set the alarms, set the timers, establish that routine. So due to your sleep being what empowers your tomorrow. So in closing, I've introduced how blue light delays melatonin production, why young adults are sensitive to it, and some realistic ways to reduce blue light exposure causing the sleep disruption. So let me leave you with a final thought. Sleep isn't just about rest. It is a major part of your brain health, moods, and daily physical and mental performance. So next time that you're up late texting, you're trying to study and cram for that test that's in the morning, endless scrolling or watching videos, think about how the small screen could be stealing your sleep and stealing your tomorrow. Thank you.